footage has emerged. It's shocking.
Caitlin Clark will be sidelined for at least 2 weeks
with a quad injury.
How Caitlin Clark got hurt.
He fouls her for the 4th time. It's cheating.
Just moments ago, the WNBA world was shaken once again as shocking new footage emerged, revealing Caitlin Clark's brutal injury in graphic detail.
Many WNBA fans are calling out the referee problem.
The referees literally turned their back.
And now, a WNBA referee has been suspended. Yes, suspended. The truth is finally catching up to the league, and the fallout is nothing short of explosive.
After every single game, WNBA players, fans, coaches are all complaining about the referees, and they have shown that they're not going to change anything because the referees continue to be horrible.
Caitlin Clark, the face of this season, the force behind sold-out arenas and record-breaking ratings, has been pushed past her breaking point. This wasn't just an injury. It was the result of reckless negligence in a broken system that chose to protect the enforcers instead of the stars.
Y'all see what's happening right here? That is a WNBA referee turning his back to Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Oh my God. I mean, he literally took out his back turn, ignoring Caitlin. I mean, this is bad.
While the world cheered for her rise, someone else was working behind the scenes with a different agenda. And now, with the footage exposed and a referee held accountable, the story the WNBA tried to keep under wraps is spiraling into full-blown chaos.
Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA.
Rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls.
What really happened on that court? Why was Caitlin left vulnerable for so long? And is this just the beginning of a deeper, more dangerous truth the league can no longer hide?
This is a WNBA problem, and as more and more eyeballs are watching this league, it becomes growingly an issue. The officiating feels you never have a true grasp on what it's going to be.
Keep watching, because this changes everything. The footage is crystal clear, and now so is the outrage. Caitlin Clark didn't go down because of a routine play. She went down because the referees refused to protect her.
The referees are not listening to them. They're not listening to the coaches. They're not listening to the players. They're not listening to the fans. They're listening to their stakeholders. That's why I keep saying nothing is going to change till the mindset and whoever's running all of this, the stakeholders, governance, whoever these people are.
Again and again for weeks, fans have watched Caitlin Clark take brutal hits, endure intentional fouls, and get shoved to the ground, often without a single whistle. But this time was different. This time, the cameras caught it all in slow motion.
If this injury does anything, it should be a wake-up call to the WNBA, the Players Association, the team owners, that just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight.
And the result was undeniable. A hard foul, a missed call, a player limping in pain, and a referee who turned her back on it all.
The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever no matter what. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what went down, bro. They have an agenda against Caitlin Clark.
The injury that has now sidelined Clark for a minimum of 2 weeks, a left quad strain, didn't just happen. It was the result of game after game filled with unchecked contact and ignored cries for help.
She will be out for 2 weeks minimum following a quad strain.
Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham going to the officials and trying to, ask for an explanation of what had just occurred. That official completely stonewalled them.
And officials who seemed more focused on keeping the game moving than on keeping the league's biggest star safe.
Caitlin Clark is being roughed up, but the physical wear and tear on Caitlin Clark, I'm not surprised that 2 weeks into the season, she's already got an injury.
And now, the backlash is exploding. WNBA insiders are reporting that one of the officials involved in the game where Clark got injured has been quietly suspended, a move the league hasn't even publicly acknowledged. No statement, no press release. Just an internal punishment slipped under the radar, hoping no one would notice.
Caitlin Clark, somebody who was responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity last season, including revenue from merchandise, ticket sales, and television.
Caitlin Clark out at least 2 weeks waited, but can the WNBA maintain without her? Can the WNBA pack arenas, draw ratings?
But the fans noticed. The footage leaked, and now it's everywhere. This isn't just a bad call. It's a broken system. These referees aren't rookies. They're underqualified.
Felines head coach Stephanie White, she was complaining about her team not getting a whistle, not being respected.
Some jumped straight from high school games to the WNBA, skipping the G League, missing out on experience, and dodging responsibility. They're being fed instructions from a behind-the-scenes committee, stakeholders, GMs, coaches, all dictating how the game should be called, what physicality is allowed, and who deserves protection.
Caitlin Clark appears to be hunted every game. She deals with physicality that no other player in the league is dealing with. The WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, their only draw, their only star, and this is the end result.
Caitlin Clark. She's not on that protected list, and she paid the price. The league built its entire season around her, sold tickets with her face, and promoted every game she played. But when it came time to blow the whistle and protect the very star holding the league together, they stayed silent.
It's the Caitlin Clark disrespect. And what I mean by that is you've got somebody who is obviously the most popular player in basketball. You got somebody that I would argue may be a top 5 most popular athlete in the United States of America. All right. You got this athlete in a league that nobody's been watching, never turned a profit, and your system is broken against that team?
Until now, because this injury and the referee suspension that followed have officially blown the lid off a scandal that's been simmering for far too long. This isn't just one missed call. It's a dangerous pattern that's been building since Caitlin Clark's very first WNBA game.
For you guys, and they do not talk about it here. And that's why I also don't want us to personally attack some of these referees. I think they're doing their job. If they're hiring referees who basically didn't have any experience but high school refereeing jobs, and then they did a stint in the G League, like these referees actually aren't. I gained and reconfirmed with myself that not much is going to change.
From the opening tip of her pro debut, it was clear opponents weren't just trying to outplay Caitlin Clark. They were trying to break her. Full court pressure, cheap shots off the ball, elbows, hip checks, shoulder bumps, moves that would have drawn whistles in any other league.
It took us halfway through the season. This year, it took us 4 games for Stephanie White to say, I've had enough.
I thought she got fouled. You know, I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games.
But for Caitlin Clark, nothing. No fouls, no protection, just silence. Game after game, fans watched her get knocked to the floor while the refs swallowed their whistles. When she looked to them for help, they literally turned their backs.
Y'all see what's happening right here? That is a WNBA referee turning his back to Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Oh my God. I mean, he literally got his back turned, ignoring Caitlin. I mean, this is bad.
There's footage circulating everywhere now of a WNBA referee blatantly ignoring Caitlin after a hit, turning away as she pleads for an explanation. That's not just disrespect, it's a dereliction of duty.
There's a committee for stakeholders, coaches, governors, and general managers, and that is saying what style of basketball they want to allow, and the referees are following that law.
And it's not just the fans who saw it. Coaches, players, even broadcasters have raised the alarm.
Said the reason that people are complaining is because they haven't watched the WNBA before, and these are just new fans who don't understand.
Stephanie White, head coach of the Indiana Fever, has gone on record calling the officiating egregious. She tried to challenge one of the most obvious missed calls of the season, but thanks to a bizarre rule requiring a full timeout to initiate a review, her hands were tied. No challenge, no accountability, just another bad call buried by technicalities.
I thought she got fouled. You know, I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing.
But Caitlin Clark kept pushing. She played through fatigue, through fouls, through pain. She never complained, never sat out. She gave the league everything. And what did she get in return? A quad strain, weeks on the bench, and now a season hanging in the balance.
The only draw in your league, the only player capable of selling tickets, is potentially out for an extended period of time. What the hell are you gonna do now?
The silence from WNBA leadership is even louder than the missed whistles. No apology, no policy change, no plan to fix the chaos. Just one referee quietly suspended, and a league hoping the fans will simply move on.
In that situation. And I understand the frustration that I think comes the most with officiating is the inconsistencies of officiating. But listen, this is not unique to the WNBA.
But this time, they won't, because Clark wasn't just injured, she was failed. And now, the league's failure is on full display.
Very clear foul.
It wasn't.
By Natasha
It's
Cloud.
a foul right here. That's a foul.
We are always going to get controversy. Here's the thing. Most refs aren't going to blow the whistle.
What makes this even more outrageous is the league's complete refusal to own up to it. The WNBA is facing a full-blown officiating crisis, one that didn't just hurt its biggest star, but exposed a system built to protect itself, not the players. And fans are starting to see right through the smoke.
I did notice in the Liberty game, Caitlin Clark's shots were all very short. So it was showing that she wasn't like getting off and she was having a difficult time making those threes, and a lot of explosiveness from those 3-point shots does come from your legs.
Behind the scenes, referees aren't acting independently. They're taking cues from a so-called competition committee, a group made up of coaches, general managers, and stakeholders. These are people with vested interests, people who don't want Caitlin Clark rewriting the rules of the league.
There's clearly a problem if it's not just one team. Also, by the way, it's not just the Indiana Fever. I know it's been the biggest story this week. Brittany Griner left a sideline interview to go yell at the refs.
People who are quietly shaping the style of play to keep the game physical, slow, and gate-kept. And Caitlin Clark? She's a disruptor.
2024 was a year of unprecedented growth in viewership in the WNBA, a substantial amount of which can be attributed to Caitlin Clark, who took the basketball world by storm after an all-time college career.
Who had appeared in 185 consecutive games between her career at Iowa and her time with the Indiana Fever. 139 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She never missed one.
Her fast-paced play, her deep shooting, her massive media draw, they don't fit the old model. She threatens it. And instead of embracing that shift, the league tried to tame it. When they couldn't, they let the punishment pile up until her body finally broke.
But Kelsey Mitchell said even if there is a injury, hopefully it's just, like a little nagging thing. And again,
take care of your body and just make sure you're not. I think recovery is everything. I think if you're in tune to your body, you know what you need. Caitlin.
Now, the referee suspension feels like too little, too late, a band-aid on a fractured foundation. The league had a golden opportunity to protect its future star, but instead, it protected its insiders. The result? A sidelined superstar, an angry fan base, and a credibility crisis growing by the hour.
Who had appeared in 185 consecutive games between her career at Iowa and her time with the Indiana Fever. 139 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She never missed one.
Obviously, Caitlin's carrying a lot on her shoulders. A big star that is coming to a lot of these buildings. And
if the WNBA doesn't act now, they won't just lose Caitlin Clark. They'll lose the trust of everyone watching. The truth is out, and the damage is done. Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in the WNBA, the engine behind record-breaking ratings in sold-out arenas, is sidelined.
But at the same time, the Fever were on the wrong end of some whistles, it seemed, in this game, and it's seemingly been that way for much of the season, and it's been a recurring theme where there's a level of physicality allowed against them, and they're not allowed to reciprocate on the other end. That particularly, of course, goes for Caitlin Clark.
Not because she couldn't handle the pressure, but because the league refused to protect her. Now, a referee has been suspended, the footage is everywhere, and the system is exposed. This wasn't just an accident. It was a preventable injury caused by a league that chose silence over accountability, politics over fairness, and gatekeeping over growth. They built a season around Caitlin Clark, sold the tickets, and cashed the checks.
All right, when that foul took place, CBS said she's got a challenge left. Well, it didn't matter. She couldn't use it. Stephanie White could not challenge that foul call on Lexi Hull, the one that led to the game-winning free throws from Sabrina Ionescu, because she didn't have a timeout. You need a full timeout, not a reset timeout, to initiate the challenge. Now, my issue with that is it would have been nice if the CBS announcers hadn't even brought up the challenge.
But when she needed protection the most, they looked away. The fans didn't. The world saw it. The media is reporting it. Now the pressure is on. The league can't hide behind bad officiating and broken rules any longer. People are watching. The truth is out. And this time, the spotlight isn't just on the court. It's on the people running the game.
She will be out for 2 weeks minimum following a quad strain.
Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham going to the officials and trying to, ask for an explanation of what had just occurred. That official completely stonewalled them.
Y'all see what's happening right here? That is a WNBA referee turning his back to Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Oh my God. I mean, he literally got his back turned, ignoring Caitlin. I mean, this is bad.
Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA.
Rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls.
If you stand with Caitlin Clark, drop a 100% in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more unfiltered truth. The league may want this to disappear, but we won't let them. Justice for Caitlin isn't just overdue, it's non-negotiable.